What is going on with all of my people of the planet? I am that chosen one that ruffles feathers, asks questions, go against the grain, and pisses people off, and shine bright. Anyway, welcome to Raising Vibrations Podcast. I am the host, D Venom. Any amount of your guys' positive energies are always welcome on this particular platform, and my other platforms. Let's just say the ones that are still surviving. Anyway, let's get into Raising Vibrations Podcast starting right now. All right, you guys, I refrain from effects, music, all that shit because I want this episode to be authentic. I want to stand in my power and speak my truth. And I know that this may offend some people, but I don't care because Source did not create me to be liked. He did not create me to follow the lead. He created me to ask questions and ruffle feathers and not believe every motherfucking thing. And anyway, I had to create an episode tonight in regard to my experience with 12-step. And I don't have a problem with 12-step. 12-step has saved people's lives and continue to save people's lives. But I see it for what it is. You know, it almost reminds me of church. You know, there's a lot of hypocritical motherfuckers in there. People tell their testimonies. People are cross-talking and all that type of shit. People are whispering in other folks' ears. It depends on the situation. You know, if a person is 29 days or less clean, I've just seen a lot of different things in regard to facial expressions, body language, and stuff like that. I can tell that people are trying to, how can I say it, sound superior in regard to spirituality in these rooms. And it irritates me. I promise you, it irritates the fuck out of me. And I'm not trying to challenge anyone's views on spirituality, you know, because like the big book says, it's a God of your understanding. I don't know what God some of these people are praying in these rooms. I know a God that I am praying, you know, not praying, but worshiping and connecting with and my higher power. You know, I know who my higher power is and who I'm devoted to in regards to that aspect. But anyway, this is a new 12-step that I've been going to, and it was decent. Y'all heard me. I used the word was. It was decent until I seen true colors revealed. It's primarily Caucasian. You know, nothing wrong with that. A lot of the meetings that I go to are primarily Caucasian. Anyway, this is not giving away too much. You know, the 12-step is centered in Bougie, North Scottsdale. That's all I would say. Anyway, you know, people up there, they're blue collared addicts and junkies or whatever the case may be. So, and plus AA is totally different from CMA. You know, CMA, which is Crystal Meth Anonymous, is a lot more wild and loose and carefree, a little bit more authentic than what these AA members are. You know, they sit up in there with their little blue collars and their privileged lifestyles. And, you know, it's just so fake and phony to me. I am sorry. I'm learning from Source in the universe that I may be standing alone when it's all said and done. And I'm not afraid to cut myself from everything to stand alone and live in truth. And the fact that I challenged the 12-step meeting tonight, it pissed them off. It ruffled their feathers, and they tried to challenge me back in return. Well, why do you still come here? Blah blah blah. I can go where the fuck I want to. I'm free for one motherfucking thing, and I'm checking out various different motherfucking meetings. You don't know if I went to a meeting prior to coming here or not. You know, I reserve the right to go to whatever meeting I want to see where my energy fits and whatever else. Anyway, so I went to an earlier meeting today, and it's it starts at 9:30 and it ends at 10:30. I've been going to these early meetings at this new 12-step meeting that I've been attending, and everything seemed to be pretty legit. Aside from some things that that don't sit well with me. But anyway, there is this Caucasian male, that he has a weird disposition. And, a lot of the people are active users, and I did not know this in regards to this person. But anyway, one 12-step meeting, they had, there were some leftover snacks, and there were some leftover snacks, and they got some of those leftover snacks, and, I'm assuming that, they got, too much, and they offered me some of the snacks. And, I took some, and I didn't think nothing of it. I felt like they had cool energies or whatever else. Anyway, after the meeting this morning, I see them, hold on, let me rephrase. After the meeting, everyone, holds hands and do the serenity prayer or whatever. And then, we all pretty much get ready to depart. But before departing, people kiki and mingle and all of that type of shit. So anyway, I grabbed some coffee and I grabbed a couple of muffins. And, I went to the restroom, and on my way out, I noticed the person that offered me, snacks at a meeting, a couple of weeks or whatever prior. And they're sitting there and once again, their body language is, the energy, the body language, just everything just said something's not right with this person. And as I'm stepping into their energy field, 6:44 time of this recording, as I step into their energy field, obviously my light started to expose them. And like I said, I did not know that, they were active in their addiction. So, but anyway, this just proves to me that me living in discernment is increasing and heightening my psychic abilities. Anyway, I open my mouth and I greet the young man, and I asked him how was he doing, and why was he sitting alone, and just breaking the ice, considering he offered me some of his snacks, and I just thought it was cool, not necessarily cool amongst he and I, but I just thought that it was casual amongst us. Anyway, before I could even finish saying what I had to say to him, he jumps up out of his seat, murmured a couple of words, and sprinted away from me. And it pissed me off. For one, this is supposed to be a fellowship. Now, don't get me wrong. We are addicts, and addiction has destroyed our emotions to a degree. So we have to retrain ourselves to feel again and express emotions and some of everything else. So I tried to look past what occurred and give the young man some grace. Anyway, I'm thinking about it, and it's heating me up, and I wanted to cuss his ass out. So I just walk out. I walk out of the building, I walk out of the building with my coffee and my little 2 muffins. And Source spoke to me, and he told me to calm down. Don't take it personal. It has nothing to do with me. It has to do with him. Like I said, I did not realize he was active in his addiction until tonight. Anyway, after I got that, message from Source, I started laughing because he was confirmation that my light truly does disturbs people's darkness and their demons. All I did was step into this young man's energy field and open my mouth to speak to him. And that caused, what I did caused that much of a disturbance within himself. You know what I'm saying? But what I did caused so much of a disturbance to his soul because he knew that he was in there fucked up. My light was getting ready to expose that ass. So he quickly fled away from me. And I started, I started analyzing the situation, and I'm just like, this is exactly what occurred. I was about to get ready to expose him, and he felt it, and he hurried up and got the fuck away from me. I am absolutely loving the fact that, how can I say it? The more free I become, the more bold that I become, the more fearless that I become, the more powerful that I become, the more that my body forms, changes into a more crystalline form. And let me explain. The more that I elevate, and I'm elevating at a high frequency, and let me slow down because I'm getting ADHD and speaking a little bit too fast. Because I am elevating at a fast rate, my body has to catch up, and my body has to transform. It has to convert into more of a crystalline form, because the higher that how can I explain? The higher that I elevate, it's thin, it's thin air up there. It's hard to breathe, the higher that you go. So my body has to transform in order to handle that atmosphere or whatever. And my body has to transform into more of a crystalline body to absorb more light. When I found this shit out, I said, baby, by the time this is all said and done, I'm going to be a motherfucking light bulb walking around this bitch. I'm going to upset half the motherfucking world because I'm going to shine extra motherfucking bright. And obviously, my body, I must be in my crystalline form. I have to be, because all I did, y'all, was step into, for instance, all I have to do is walk into a room, and some of y'all may have experienced this. 11:55 time of this recording. Some of y'all may have walked into a room, and all you did was just present your energies in that room, and you disrupt the whole motherfucking place. Bitches looking at you up and down. Hoes want to fight your ass and do all type of shit. Why do you want to fight me? What did I do to you? All I did was come into this room and shine. That's all I did. And now you want to put hands on me? Child humans. Anyway, so after it was explained to me in the spiritual sense, from source, let me rephrase. After I got the spiritual message in regard to what occurred, I chuckled about it and I let it be. So anyway, I go to tonight's meeting, and things is cool. That person was there, that I just told y'all about. And this drunk ass motherfucking, not to tell too much, I'll just say female was there. And, a couple of other people, your same individuals, including the host of the meeting. Anyway, I'm listening to people's, testimonies and shit. And, the person that I was telling you guys about, they're in and out of the meeting, in and out of the bathroom. They disappeared in the bathroom. It was in there until shit. The meeting was over, and I believe they were still in the bathroom. I'm sure active in their addiction, just like the motherfucking drunk ass woman that tried to come for me tonight. Active in your motherfucking addiction in the 12-step meeting, and you trying to come for me, you drunk bitch. I sorry to call her that, but you crossed boundaries with me talking that bullshit. Anyway, so while the young man was in the bathroom doing whatever he was doing, I could have addressed him. I could have addressed the situation while he was out of the bathroom, but he was in there at that particular time. Somebody else was speaking about the meetings, and they were talking about how they don't mesh with mainly the men of the meetings or whatever the case may be. And he was just describing character, which prompted me to open up my motherfucking mouth, because I've been silent in these meetings and I don't want to be that anymore. But anyway, I pretty much reiterated, if that's the right word, what he was talking about. And I was basically sharing my experience in regard to The people of 12-step meetings. Y'all talk about me being weird. Y'all motherfuckers is weird as fuck. Y'all want to exchange numbers with me, only for me to reach out to y'all, and I don't get shit in return. No text message, no phone call. It's a ghost situation. What is the point of wanting my motherfucking phone number, and when I reach out to your ass, you elude me? Either you have relapsed or something has happened. More than likely, it's a relapse. And they know by answering the phone and connecting with me or whatever, I'm going to peep game. So what better way to not get exposed than to just elude me altogether? I mean, this has happened to me on a couple of occasions at a couple of different meetings. You know, someone, oh, you're cool, blah, blah, blah. Give me your phone number. I connect with you, blah, blah, blah. And then I get, like for instance, somebody gave me their phone number and I called it a couple of times and couldn't get to them. And so when I see them at the meeting, they're trying to explain themselves. But mind you, they are not giving me any eye contact. They're looking down. They're looking, to the side or whatever. I'm right in front of your face. You're explaining this to me, not the ground, not the walls or anything. You're explaining this to me. Why can't you look me in the eyes and let me know what's going on with this phone situation? I don't really give a fuck, but it's nice to hear your lame explanation in regard to anyway. So after I after I commented, how can I say it? After I spoke, after the young man spoke about, character in the meetings or whatever, I mentioned my experience with the young man, that was pretty much in the bathroom doing whatever he was doing. I mentioned my earlier experience, at the meeting, between, myself and them. And that's where, they spoke up, and it was like, D, it's not about you, blah, blah, blah. I knew it wasn't about me. I already knew that. I just wanted to know what the fuck is wrong with his ass. That's all I wanted to know. Anyway, they reassured me that it wasn't about me. They pretty much told his business and, told me that they were active, in their addiction, and bam, that explained everything. That explained exactly why they hurried up and pretty much ran away from my motherfucking ass, because I was getting ready to expose the fact that I know you are beyond fucked up in this motherfucker. I will give them credit. You are fucked up, but you are still in this 12-step meeting. So I will give them credit on that. Anyway, where things started to turn left, a couple of people came in late, and these are individuals that coordinate the meetings as well. Things started to turn left because one of the individuals, a female that came in late with one of the individuals that coordinate the meetings, they tried to challenge me and ask me something about, because I said something about people not being authentic in these meetings. And they challenged me by asking me, well, what is authentic to you, blah, 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 blah. So as I'm explaining this, they're still trying to challenge me. And I'm sitting in that motherfucker room in discernment, and I'm not backing down in regard to my relationship with the invisible. The fact that I'll get into that momentarily. So anyway, the drunk ass bitch, happened to speak up. You need to go to the noon meeting, blah, 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 blah. And, she started to, in her drunken ass voice and body language or whatever, started to explain the noon meeting to me. And then it was the words that she said when she got ready to close her, her statement, sentence or whatever the fuck. She said, because they can change a worker. I forgot what this trick said. Because they can, it was something glib. And I sat there for a minute. I let it penetrate me, and I came for that ass, and not in no damn sexual way. I don't know what I said verbatim, but I addressed her and I said, with your drunk motherfucking ass, and I busted her ass out in the motherfucking meeting, and shit turned quick, shit shifted real quick. So the other woman that came in late with, one of the coordinators of the meeting, they, once again tried to challenge me, and they said something about, something about, I guess, everybody trying to be cool with me because I was standing alone in the meeting, and I was pretty much not busting out, but I was just asking questions. My whole thing is I'm not challenging Bob and Bill, the writers of the big book, but I hear so many people sitting in those 12-step meetings, 2033 time of this recording, Ascendant Masters are near me. Obviously, they're agreeing with what I'm putting out here because those threes are confirmation that, they're near me and they're supporting, what I'm saying. Anyway, I'm hearing these people sit in these 12-step meetings and give all the glory to these meetings. And again, I am not taken away from that. These meetings are saving lives. They've been saving lives since the book was written, and they continue to save lives. And I'm happy about that. I'd rather see recovered addicts versus active addicts, dying and whatever else. 21:21 time of this motherfucking recording. But anyway, where was I at? Probably the other woman. So she says something. Oh, well, blah, 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 blah. Well, they're trying to be cool with you. Something like they're trying to be cool with you up in here, blah, blah, blah. And then the other girl that coordinates the meeting. Well, basically in a nutshell, if I feel this particular way, then why do I keep coming back? First of all, this meeting is not the shit like that. There are other meetings in the motherfucking valley that tops this one. I can go to any motherfucking meeting I want to. The reason why I keep coming back here is because I want to. It's as simple as that. Because I want to, and I reserve the right to go to any meeting that I motherfucker want to. So anyway, I questioned the fact that individuals are appraising man first before giving the glory to source and or God or the invisible. It reminds me of the Oscars, the Golden Globes, the BET Awards, the MTV Awards, any award show. And these individuals get their asses up there. They grab their award. They're happy as fuck, shining, whatever the case may be, glowing, whatever. And they thank everybody else. And source and or God, the invisible, are last. And I never understood that. I questioned that as well. And I'm like, why are they giving the glory to man first and then put God last? Even gospel artists, y'all singing about God. There's two gods, so to speak. You got the one in hell and you got the one above. So they could be appraising the one down below. But anyway, you're praising, you got your hands up in the air, you're crying and doing all this Holy Ghost bullshit. Y'all doing the most on stage, acting, put it that way. You're acting on stage, and you're basically, you're not, damn, I forgot where I was going with this. I'm on a roll. Basically, you're using God for your own convenience, so to speak. And I'm not saying that these meetings are incorporating God for their own convenience, but to thank the groups and man first before you thank God for saving your motherfucking life and guiding you into these rooms, I find that to be a huge disrespect. And the more that I walk in discernment, the more that I'm going to take up for God. And I have a chosen one friend as well that she does the same thing. When people get out of line and disrespect God or whatever, they defend God, and people don't like that. And this is what happened in that meeting tonight. Because I chose a different path, and there's atheists in the meeting. They don't believe in God or nothing. They won't even say the serenity prayer. Not that I say it either, but people turn their heads when it comes to God up in there. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. I seen it tonight when it came to the prayer. Somebody turned their whole motherfucking head when it came down to the God part. But anyway, the fact that I was just spitting truth, wisdom, and throwing it in their motherfucking faces, they could not handle that. What the fuck? No disrespect, white people. No disrespect. What the fuck do y'all know about spirituality? I promise you. I listen to these stories. Oh, God this and God that, and he this and he that. And I'm not trying to be cynical or rude or whatever. Half of y'all motherfuckers probably don't even know that you're marked and got the letter M on your motherfucking palms, more or less the crescent moon. I was about to go deep. Well, I have gotten deep with their motherfucking asses, and they don't know how to handle hearing about the crescent moon and how the universe guided me to the truth of who I am. They can't handle the fact that y'all are still struggling with your addiction, and I am being uplifted, or I'm being lifted from mine. And I'm not in these 12-step meetings like y'all are. You know what I'm saying? And, I'm not going through half of the shit that y'all going through. And y'all are in these 12-step meetings more than I am. I am being liberated. You know what I'm saying? And if I can't turn to source, the invisible, and whatever else to guide me through my addiction before turning to man, then something is wrong. I am supposed to put all faith in the invisible and source and let that be the reason. And dive into the unknown. I should not be asking anything because they already have my path chosen. I'm just, all I have to do is just move forward, which I am doing. And disrupt the peace, which I did tonight. So anyway, 2655. There was a couple of other things that occurred, and for one thing, I'm a 49-year-old motherfucking queen. And for that other chick that came in late to tell me to take a chill pill, bitch, I will cuss your ass the fuck out. Okay? Inside and out. Anyway, because I'm only 21 days clean, but it sounds like this trick was freshly motherfucking relapsed. So, that's my whole thing. You got so much going on in your mother. I'm happy up in this motherfucking meeting. You the one that's miserable. Let your story tell it. I'm not bitter. I'm not going through half the shit that y'all going through, and y'all be up in these meetings pretty much all day and all motherfucking night. Anyway, like I said, I'm not trying to make it seem like I am the guru of spirituality now that I have been guided to see certain content that opens my eyes to things, hear certain music that opens my eyes to certain things, allow my third eye to allow me to see things, allow my energy to feel things. I'm not going to agree with you. And if that upsets you, that's your motherfucking problem. Why is it that people that are free thinkers and think, how can I say it? Think with wisdom. Why is that so much? Why is that a problem? Why do you want me to follow what you're doing or have a similar approach? I don't know. Like I told them tonight in the meeting, I am created to disrupt the motherfucking peace, ruffle feathers, ask questions. I don't give a fuck if it's church, the big book. I don't care. It could be the Bible. And I still may ask some questions. That's what God wants me to do, because he does not want me to follow and believe everything that's out here. But yeah, it turned ugly, and that will be my last time going to that motherfucking meeting. They won't see me again. So that will answer that. me not attending anymore will answer your question. Well, why do you still come here? I don't. You don't see my light in here any motherfucking more. But anyway, yeah, you got all this going on in regard to the individuals that's coming for me. That, like I told them in this motherfucking 12 step tonight. You can't project how you truly feel about yourself on me. I'm confident. I have my own motherfucking platforms where I don't sit in no motherfucking square box ass motherfucking 12-step meeting telling my story. I tell my story abroad the way that Source wants me to. The way that he wants all of us to tell our testimony. He don't want, did Source sit in the cave all motherfucking day and tell his testimony? He walked abroad, bitch. Excuse my French. He walked abroad and told his story. He didn't sit in one space or one place. He moved it around and told his testimony. And that is exactly what I'm doing. I'm using social media, shit. Who's to say what my future may hold? I may be standing, in front of a podium, utilizing my voice, and I have a funny feeling that is going to be a part of my future. But anyway, I'm being guided, and I'm being freed. And man, if it was left up to man, I would not know any motherfucking thing about the crescent moon on my hand, on my palms. I would not know anything of self-identity. Man wants to keep that away from me and the world. The universe, the invisible, guided me to every video that I needed to see, every song that I needed to see, every motherfucking angelic number that I looked into. All of that was the universe and the invisible. They guided me to those two words, socialized conditioning or social conditioning. They led me to that. If it were left up to man would definitely not have revealed that to me. That is what man is trying to conceal from us. The fact that the universe opened my eyes to that, I'm beyond free. Once again, I mean, props to the 12-step meetings. Props. But anyway, let me get on to this. Now, white people, I don't have no issues with y'all. I'm not prejudiced or by any means, even though y'all done call me the N-word or some of every motherfucking thing else. I still walk with my head up and did not allow that to take from me. Now, I am not trying to level up anybody's spirituality. We all come from different backgrounds and our spirituality, it differs. But what I was going to tell these motherfuckers when I got my 29-day chip, because I was waiting for this. I had it all planned out. I was going to get my 29-day chip. I was going to get deep in regard to spirituality. And then I was going to get even deeper when I received my 30-day chip at this particular meeting, because I'm just, the stories that I hear is just, I don't know. Anyway, everybody has their own views of spirituality. My thing is, spirituality has been with my people before the beginning. Spirituality really kicked in during the slave days, because every motherfucking thing was stripped from my ancestors. Food, water, clothing, shelter, even their voices. They couldn't even sing gospel because that was taken from them. The only thing that my ancestors had to rely on to keep them going was the motherfucking invisible. They relied on voodoo to curse them motherfucking slave masters and some of every motherfucking thing else. They rely on that invisible to carry them through. Other than that, shit, my people, we more than likely would be a thing of the motherfucking past had the invisible not carried us through. That's why we're the chosen ones. But I wasn't going to challenge the 12-step meetings in regard to the crescent moon and stuff like that. For instance, what the fuck do they teach y'all in church? Now, across from this 12-step meeting, not to tell too much, is, there's something that sits across from there. Anyway, the person that works in there is, how can I say it? They are, they have a relationship with God, just put it that way. I'm not sure if they're a priest or whatever the case may be, but I just know that they have a very, strong relationship with him. And I went in there one day because I wanted to see if they had anything, because they have all these books on spirituality and shit. I wanted to see if they had anything in regard to the letter M being on the palm and the crescent moon. They didn't know what I was talking about. You mean to tell me that you have all this experience in regard to the Bible and all of this type of stuff, and you can't tell me anything about chosen ones? You can't tell me anything about the 144 Club? You can't tell me anything about the crescent moon? You can't tell me anything about this, but you know about God, allegedly. I question, and it's not like these preachers. Had y'all talked about chosen ones and things of that nature, maybe my mother would have a better understanding of what she gave birth to. This is why people set themselves free from churches being restricted and told how to learn about God or whatever, conditioned to learn about God. This is why people set themselves free and they're more spiritual to learn about God. And I have learned more about Source being spiritual than I have ever learned about him in a damn church, especially a black church, where it's all about show. Anyway, like I said, my white people, I'm not challenging anybody. Y'all increase our spirituality by, pretty much stripping my ancestors of everything. And y'all want to sit y'all asses up in these 12-step meetings and talk all this bullshit about, God this and God that and yada, 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 and whatever else. And I'm not here to make anyone upset or anything like. I wouldn't give a damn, to be honest with you. I have to speak truth. We weren't good for anything else, but we can be shackled, and we were lazy, or y'all call us lazy, but y'all are the individuals that came to Africa and took us from gold, riches, and whatever else, shackled my ancestors, and forced them to build what y'all were supposed to be building. And who's lazy? Y'all are getting y'all lips injected so that top lip can be full and that bottom lip, because most of y'all don't have no motherfucking lips. Y'all are doing why? Why? Y'all talked about our lips, nigger lips, blah 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 blah, but now it boomerangs, and now y'all want full lips. Y'all know them anyway. But I have to weigh my pros and cons in regard to these 12-step meetings. And it's not just this particular 12-step meeting. It's pretty much not all of them. There is a handful of 12-step meetings that I dig from these primary organizations. They're centered around the Valley, and I won't say the name of it, but I like those meetings. But my energies don't fit in those 12-step meetings. I haven't done any of them. Let me stop lying. I did one of the steps, and I think of step 5, and that's making an amends to someone. And I have an issue with this. Now, you guys know that my previous apartment, I was geeking and tweaking and doing the most, put my landlord through some shit. My landlord came through for me and helped me get my deposit back. That was nearly $2,000. As an apology for my actions or whatever, I bought 2 cars, one for him and one for his secretary, even though I didn't have to give her shit, but I did anyway. I withdraw $200 and I put $100 in one envelope addressed to him and the other $100 addressed to the secretary. And I went there personally to the offices and hand delivered it to him. We had a conversation where it got teary-eyed on my part. I opened up and told him about my addiction, and everything is cool. He told me that I didn't even have to do what I did, but I did it out of the bottom of my heart because I was fighting for my deposit, and by him stepping in and saying some good words on my behalf, even though he did not have to, that got me my money. And it was only right for me to make that amends and do what's right. But my thing is, first of all, why are we making this amends with man first? We should be making this amends with the invisible source. We should be making that amends with source first. We went against him. We didn't go against no motherfucking man. We went against source before we went against any motherfucking thing. We turned our backs on him in order to fuck around with drugs and all of that type of shit and sin. We went against him. We went against him and the universe. We disrespected her by blowing crack smoke in the air and methamphetamine smoke and doing the most under her roof. So if anybody deserves that apology or that amends first, it should be the invisible. Then we should be apologizing to our motherfucking selves because we put ourselves through it. Nobody else did. We chose to dive off the straight and narrow. In most cases, a lot of us didn't. But we put ourselves through it with addiction. Some of us put ourselves through it to the point where we're not even here anymore. Our skin was fucked up. We be picking it, and it got sores all over the place. Teeth done got rotted out and bullshit. We disheveled, in most cases not taking care of our hygiene. Kids got taken away. Homes got taken away. Cars got repossessed. You homeless now? I mean, Satan and the world has taken a lot from us in regard to our motherfucking addictions. And 42 time of this recording. No, it's too much. It's too much. It's too much that has been taken away. And I don't want anything else taken away from me due to some motherfucking addiction. Damn. I was about to make this a motherfucking point. Oh my God. Where was I going with that? I'm sorry, you guys. Y'all know me and this ADHD. I got so much on my mind. So anyway, I knew before I surrendered my battle, and I told y'all this, I knew before I surrendered my battle of addiction to man in regard to 12-step meetings and shit, I surrendered my battle of addiction to that motherfucking invisible. The invisible had the answers to my creation. They knew where to put this boy coochie. They knew where to put this asshole so I can shit. They knew where to put my heart. They knew where to put my chest. They knew where to put my eyes. They knew where to put my nose. They knew to put 2 holes. They knew to create nostrils so I can breathe. They knew how to. The invisible knew how to do all. They knew how to create this world. How to hold the world. How to hold the world in the center. How to keep the world in the center of an atmosphere and not go anywhere. I mean, all of that is miraculous. Women having babies. I mean, you spreading your legs and pushing out another human being. All of that is miraculous acts that man did not create. The invisible did. And half of these people sit up in these meetings. I don't know why I'm here today. You know, such and such happened. And by the grace of my higher power, I'm still, look, you're here because for one, on your palm, you more than likely got the motherfucking M, which means you're marked. And you more than likely have that crescent moon, which means you're even more marked. But y'all know about spirituality in these 12-step rooms. I mean, once again, not challenging. 44:55 time of this recording. But I have so many points to make. But the amends. That's where I was at. The amends. I don't see it. I don't see it. When I hear people giving the appraise to 12-step meetings in the big book, and like I said, I'm glad the big book is created, and I'm glad the big book incorporates God in their teachings or in their teachings or whatever. I'm glad He is incorporated, but. There's something to it. I can't pinpoint it, but it's something to it that doesn't sit well with me. It may sit well with everybody that submerge themselves in these motherfucking meetings, but it doesn't sit well with me. I'm not saying that it's cultish or anything like that, but for y'all to give the praise and the respect and the applause and the glory to man for saving your life and putting you in them 12-step meetings, that's a huge disrespect. And I spoke about that shit tonight, and they didn't like it. And what else? There was something else that aside from this motherfucking amends. Anyway, I did not do them steps, and I don't plan on doing them steps. God has my steps. If I can't trust the steps that God puts in front of me in order to, recover from my addiction, then something is wrong. If He led me to these groups, then He can lead me other places. And He is. And He is. There was another point that I was about to make, but and like I said, I'm not, it's not about being, how can I say this? I used to judge Christians for living a particular way and being separate from the world. And I get it now. God separated them for a reason. He separated me for a reason from even from my own motherfucking family. He is not playing. He is getting rid of any and everything that is not going to be moving into my new life, going forward. Period. He don't care if it's family or not. They're not meant to be in a part of my new life moving forward. Social media. I deleted that Instagram account. I'd be damned if y'all think y'all are going to control my life and have me sitting on your platform for 5 motherfucking hours with Instagram open so y'all can upload a 5-minute video or a 10-minute video. Y'all know that video can upload a lot quicker than what the fuck that, baby, good night. Let me delete y'all shit. Let me get y'all off of my phone and out of my motherfucking life. And that's how I feel about these 12-step meetings. They discourage me. It's something about these stories that don't sit well with me. Anyway, if something like this is triggering me in a negative way, I have no choice but to remove it out of my life because I'm not going. I'm not my 2026. I'm not finna. No. If it is questionable energies, you're automatically removed. I don't want anything in my life questionable. And I'm questioning too much in regards to these 12 steps. So I'm going to slack back, and I'm just going to continue to take my own chosen path and continue my recovery and my sobriety with the invisible. If I truly need to go to a 12-step, if I feel like I'm about to use it, something like that, then I will go. But if I don't need it, then I'm not going. It's kind of like recovery. After a while, you get bored with it, sitting in that room all day, listening to these damn stories and shit. I mean, people be yawning and some of everything. It gets boring. Can we do something a little bit more modern? But anyway, a sponsor. I do not have no sponsor. And I looked around, it was advised to me in regard to a couple of sponsors. One of them ended up, they were cool, but they're not my sponsor, but I don't give a fuck about no sponsor. The invisible are my sponsors. If I need to get something off my chest or tell something deep, dark, well, they already know the deep, dark. I can meditate to them and get my answers. I don't need to, and quite frankly, I've been hearing all type of stories about these motherfucking sponsors. People that have been a part of these 12-step meetings way before I have, started going. They calling their sponsors because they're going, having an episode or whatever. They need comforting. They need guidance. They need someone there. Sponsors aren't returning their phone calls. Sponsors are eluding them. Sponsors basically drop them. I'm hearing of sponsors pretty much relapsing and passing away when they're supposed to be helping your ass. I mean, but you helping yourself to drugs. But I get it. Sponsors aren't immune to relapse. In most cases, sponsors have 15, 16, 20 motherfucking people that they're sponsoring. How the fuck am I supposed to get my attention when you have to spread, you have all these other individuals that you have to, give attention to. So, I mean, I may be going through a crisis where I need some divine attention, and I can't get that because you have to divide that amongst 15, 20 motherfucking people. I don't want to go through that. I had a good relationship with my therapist in Vegas when I was going to Bridge Counseling Center for Maryland Parkway, if I'm not mistaken. No, Las Vegas Boulevard. One of them, Las Vegas Boulevard, I believe. Shia Abia Dunn, very beautiful, light-skinned woman. We built a good relationship, and when I went back to the counseling center after telling her all my, shit, they moved her to a different facility. They didn't pre-warn her clients or anything like that. And I was devastated. Throughout my life, I've had people walking in and out of my life, even my own mother, in and out of my life. No consistency. Even relationships that I tried to form, in regard to friendships or partners, or in and out of the life, in and out. As a 49-year-old queen, I don't want it in my life moving forward. I don't want that in and out bullshit. I do not want to sit here and confide in someone and then I reach out to them and they elude me, or they too busy because they got other motherfuckers. No, I don't want that in my motherfucking life. This is why I have not chosen a sponsor yet. And another reason why I have not chosen a sponsor yet is because all addictions aren't equal. Black addiction is not equal to white addiction. White addiction is not equal to Asian addiction. Asian addiction is not equal to Russian addiction. All races, nationality, creeds, or whatever, we all suffer from addiction in different ways. We may have some form of similarities to them, but different ways. White people aren't afraid to go to 12-step meetings with each other and break generational curses and shit like that. Black people, we rather keep the a cycle of addiction going by parlaying and drinking and yeah, y'all know how we do. But yeah. Hold on one second. Oh, 53 time of this recording. But I just see it. I see it in regards to these meetings, and because I called it out tonight, it became a huge issue, and they tried to challenge me, and I shut that shit down. I don't give a fuck if they were saying slick shit under their breath that they didn't think that I was catching on to or whatever. Y'all miserable. Y'all are submerged in these 12-step meetings. I am free to the motherfucker. Free, bitch. Okay? And becoming even more freer. The more that I elevate, the more that the universe guides me and open my eyes. Y'all bitches in these meetings are navigating the world with y'all eyes closed. I'm not. Y'all are sitting up in this motherfucker, in these motherfucking meetings being conditioned. There's other ways of living. There's other ways of recovering aside from 12-step meetings. And this is what God wants me to challenge. He's not against the big book or anything like that because he's happy that they incorporated him in the book, to save lives. But he also wants me to know that I don't have to sit in those meetings and give half of my life away to these meetings in order to recover. That's not living. If I'm submerged in these meetings all day, that's not living. I am I'm basically allowing myself to continue to be conditioned, by thinking, damn, I have to be submerged in these meetings. There's no other way to recover aside from 12-step. No, there is other ways to recover. And recovery with the invisible is what I want. 55:55, time of this recording. I need to look that up because when I said what I want and emphasis, that's when that 55:55 came up. But anyway, that's what I want for myself. I want recovery with the invisible. If it's meant for me to have recovery with man, then the invisible will guide me there. Another reason why I have not chose a sponsor, and I was getting into that when I was talking about, white and black addiction is different, et cetera, et cetera. I don't want no white sponsor, and I'm not trying to be rude or anything like that. I don't want a Mexican sponsor. I don't want a Russian. I don't want a Vietnamese. I want my people to sponsor me. As I said, all of our addictions are different. My people will probably understand me a little bit more than what, damn white person sponsor, would, or any other nationality. You know what I'm saying? Because we understand that we sweep our shit under the rug. We understand that we don't, enthuse going to these 12-step meetings to break generational curses. We rather keep the curses going. You know what I'm saying? So we can understand all of that versus other nationalities. We can understand that we come from spirituality from the beginning. We can understand that other nationalities can't. They would probably think that we're trying to be inferior over them. But it's true. We come from spirituality. Deep down in my ancestors' motherfucking DNA is nothing but spirituality. I'm not saying that it's not in any other nationality's DNA, but y'all already know, considering the stories that have been put out there in regard to my people, y'all already know that spirituality is deeply embedded in our story. Period. 57:55. So no, I'm not going to look for no sponsor. Don't give a fuck about it. No, I will not be submerging myself in 12-step meetings. No, My faith, my trust, my guidance, my discernment is towards that damn invisible. I don't give a damn. And I know they were upset in that 12-step meeting. That's why they kept challenging me. When you challenge someone that is speaking wisdom and truth, and you know that is truth, you get upset because you really can't argue with what's coming out of that person's mouth. And they tried to argue with me about some things, but you can't, because y'all are conditioned and navigate the world blind. I am awake and I see it for what it is. I'm trying to wake y'all dumbasses up, but hell, y'all anyway. So 58, look at that, 58. All of this universal, invisible confirmation. This confirmation is not coming from man. Man is not giving me these angelic numbers. The invisible is. The invisible is. They're letting me know right now with that 5858, it's time to get some guidance. Look into it. But people like atheists and agnostics and whatever the case may be, they still want to believe that, and I get it, the big book, a guide of your understanding, which, how can I say it? It should not be a guide of your understanding because there's only one God, period. But to get people to come to these meetings or whatever else the case may be, because, the God topic, it will discourage people and they will flee. So I get it. Let's reword this and say a God of your understanding so that people will be a little bit more open and, won't mind surrendering to the group. I get it. But, man. I'm not surrendering to 12 steps. Sorry. I'm surrendering to God. That's who I'm surrendering to. I'm not 12 steps. So I'm sorry, 12 step, but I'm not. You will not get the appraise over God. Period. And I spoke truth about that tonight at this 12 step. I will not give the appraise to any of these rooms before I give it to God. Period. And they have a problem with that. If you have a problem with that, then something is wrong, because nobody should have a problem with giving the appraise to the Creator over man. Help me make it make sense. Anyway, I'm going to end this. It's 12. Look, 12. Bitch, I promise you, these motherfuckers in 12 step would not be able to handle my spirituality, okay? More or less the spirituality of my people. Y'all would not be able, when I talk about angelic numbers in these rooms and how I go to YouTube and get my guidance for the day, people look at me like, some of them look at me and fascinate, like they're fascinated. And some of them look at me like, what the fuck am I talking about type scenario? They don't know they're close to that. Because they're so conditioned by the big book and whatever the case may be, they don't see that. They don't see anything else. I don't want to be conditioned like that. I don't want the big book conditioning me to the point where I believe the only form of recovery is through y'all. Sorry, anyway. Okay. Baby, I'm sorry, you guys. I just find shit funny. I sit back and look at humans, and y'all some interesting creatures. But I'm weird. All right, you guys. I'm going to end this content. Y'all have a good one. Please look into social conditioning and free yourselves from it all. You will thank me later. And stand in your power. Do not be afraid to stand alone. I am not afraid to stand alone. If I have to, I'm not going to explain myself. I am not going to be afraid to stand alone. And let that be the reason. All right, you guys. Spiritual hugs. My people that are still suffering in silence. Oh, my God. If you really do need to take your ass to a 12-step meeting to get your shit together, go. You know what I'm saying? But people with a different faith system like myself, I know that I don't need it like that because I have the invisible. But anyway, y'all be good and namaste.